Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. It is, actually I'm filming this on Friday, 1:40 in the afternoon. It is snowing. What a crazy week in Maine on Wednesday. It was 65 degrees out. It was windy but sunny. It was so warm. It was just crazy. And it was so nice that I opened up all the windows in the house, opened up the bulkhead down here in the basement, opened up everything just to let like fresh air cycle through. I took the cat boxes outside, cleaned them out really good because, you know, you can only clean them so good inside. Swap out the garage, you know, took the dog for an extra walk. It was just a glorious. And then the next day, yesterday, it was 11. And now today we're getting like between 4 to 8 inches of snow. It's snowing right now. I think we've got at least 4 inches already. And it's like in the teens. So you just never know. You just never know. I was really hoping that the groundhog had our back and we were on our way to spring. Maybe. I hope. But today it definitely is winter. We did lose most of our snow, which, oh man, front yard. So the dog has a run in the front yard and, you know, we hook her out there. She likes to, sometimes she'll just go out and do her business and come back. And then sometimes she just likes to hang out. Well, anyway, so snow all melted. And I bet you can guess the treasures I found under the snow. So anyways, I went out there with the dog's pooper scooper to like clean that up because I was like, oh, that is bad. It was like, man, that would be like the best fertilized lawn in town, I'm telling you. Oh, it was gross. So I went out there to clean up, and I'm just thinking, man, I think I've dealt with more with more pet waste this week than I ever have in my entire life. But man, you get warm weather, you just got to be outside. It doesn't even matter if you're pooping, if you're scooping the pooping, because when the weather is good, you just don't care. It's just so nice to be outside. Oh yes, I got that. The spring is almost here delirium. I guess it's not really almost here because we're not even into March yet, and so we still got a ways to go. But it's like all of a sudden, what was that? Was it Ray Bradbury? All of summer in a day. That's what it felt like. You know, it was just like a day of summer in the middle of the icy cold tundra. So anyway, first things first, I want to let you guys know that from March 2nd to the 6th, I will be demoing for Derwent in New York City. So I will not be responding to comments. Well, I don't know. I want to say I'm not going to... I may not be able to respond to anything during that time just because I don't know how busy I'm going to be, and I haven't been to New York since the 90s, so if I get a chance to see stuff and do stuff, I'm gonna do that. I don't travel much, so it's a good opportunity to, you know, see something new. So if you're taking any classes at my Teachable School and you post artwork, you post comments, all my comments are moderated, but I usually check in a couple times a day and approve them and answer questions and whatnot. So for those days, the comments are going to stay like unmoderated, so you won't see your comment. If you post a comment, you're not going to see it show up. So just be patient. I will, that'll be my first order of business when I get back, will be to go through my Teachable School and respond to students' questions and comments and artwork. But I just want to let you know that I will not be responsive from the 2nd until the 6th. So I just want to put that out there. I'll also mention that in my my Critique Club monthly prompt video, just to make sure that hopefully everybody is informed of that. But don't worry. Just, yeah, don't expect to hear back from me if you email or leave a comment or anything for a couple days. That's so weird. It's so weird when you have something like that going to like take time away from it. I don't think I ever actually have. I think every time I've gone on vacation, I've had my laptop with me and just like responded, taking like an hour out of the day or so to do that. But yeah, I don't know what that's going to be like. I think it's going to be pretty fast-paced and pretty busy the whole time. So I just want to make sure everybody's expectations are met. What else? Oh, I've got a Michael's class coming up. We're going to do these plums. It's a longer class. It is one of their premium classes, so it's $20. It is March 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I believe. I'll put a link in the video description if you want to check it out. Like I said, it's $20. It's going to be, the class is going to be painting those plums, but it's going to be mainly about using limited supplies. So I know that color pencils are expensive, so this is going to be how you can make the most out of a limited palette. We'll be using the Derwent ChromaFlow set of 24. Obviously, you can use whatever pencils you have, but we'll be using a basic limited supply. So regardless of what pencils you have or you prefer, if you want to follow exactly, you know, you can use the ChromaFlows. They're not terribly expensive, and you only need a small pack of them. So just to kind of help you build your skills, mixing and layering colors, and we'll also be working on gessoed, either gessoed paper or gessoed mat board. So you will want to use some clear gesso and gesso your black paper or black mat board before class. But all of that information is in the video, is in the listing that you can access by clicking the link in the video description if you would like to join me. It's a small class and seats are limited, so it's first come, first serve. There is a cancellation policy. Obviously don't want everyone signing up and taking all the spots and then like finding out they can't make it and canceling it, but you know, if something does come up, you can cancel 24 hours before the class. But I would check your schedules first before signing up, just because there's only 50 seats available and that's their maximum number. You will be able to ask questions and share your artwork with me, and it's a very interactive experience. So I just want to make sure that the people don't sign up that can't make it. You will get a recording of the class like a couple days after, so you will be able to refer to that afterwards. So I just want to kind of get all those details out there in case you're interested. I want to make sure you guys know about it first, so it doesn't fill up before you get a chance to sign up. The other thing, I will have this tutorial up in Critique Club this weekend. Maybe, hopefully, by the time Sat Chat goes up. I'm not sure if it's done yet though. This is one of these things. I was using my M-Gram watercolors. This is Arch's watercolor paper, and I was using my M-Gram watercolors. So I'm using like some of my favorite products, right? And there are points in this painting where I'm like, oh, this is so awesome, I love it. And then there's parts where I'm like, oh. And I'm not sure if I landed on a sour note or not. I might do more to it. If I do, obviously, I'll add to that lesson. But that's going to be up in Critique Club, or it should be up by, if it's not up now, it'll be up this weekend. So yeah, busy. I've been very busy. Aren't we all though? We all are very busy. Oh, I want to recommend a video from another YouTuber I saw this weekend I saw last weekend, and it was so good, so informative, excellently produced. James Gurney has a video on his YouTube channel. I'll link it down below. And it's all about gouache. It's about an hour long, and it's really interesting because he kind of goes between doing tips for gouache and going back and forth between that in his studio and this plein air painting he's doing like on a frozen river of these ice boats. So it's really cool. I mean, I don't plein air paint in the winter. I've tried it. I just can't hack it. I'm too cold to do that, especially when you have your hands out. I just can't. I can't hack it. But it was really fun to watch. Really interesting. There was not a dull moment in the entire tutorial because he went between. If there were parts that would be kind of slow, he was like putting up viewers' questions and stuff like that. It wasn't live. It was all like pre-recorded questions. It was really neat. It was an excellent tutorial. If you've dabbled in gouache, you've got questions about gouache, I highly recommend it. It was really informative. So that was James Gurney's gouache tutorial last weekend. What else do we have? I've been actually, as I've come up, thought of things this week, I've been jotting it down. I've got so many lists going because these last 2 months have been so busy, and then I just have to be sure I have everything ready by the time I leave for New York, and then yeah, it's just a lot of plates to keep spinning, I guess. Oh, I had something. So I did was it last week's Sat Chat or just another video? I don't know. It's all a blur. These last 2 months have been a blur. But we talked about can we trust art reviews anymore? And so many people mentioned a problem that Amazon has had with counterfeit art supplies. And I was thinking, I'm like, I don't think I've ever got a counterfeit supply on Amazon before. You can see there's definitely some supplies that are inspired by, like the Art Whale watercolors, which are made by Superior. I'm like 99.9% sure. Like, they look suspiciously like Paul Rubens as far as like layout and some of the stuff they print, but I wouldn't have bought that thinking I'm getting a Paul Rubens product, you know what I mean? So I've seen stuff that's heavily inspired by other products, but nothing where I'm buying, like, I'm trying to buy Prismacolor, but I get some no-name brand. I don't think I've ever gotten a counterfeit art supply on Amazon, but a lot of people say they have. So I'd be really interested if you want to comment down below and let me know if you've ever got a counterfeit art supply on Amazon and what it was, because I find that like troubling and fascinating and very interesting because I guess I've been lucky, or maybe I don't shop as much as the average Amazon shopper, but I thought that was interesting and a little disturbing. But and a lot of people were citing third-party sellers as the culprit, but I disagree. A lot of the third-party sellers are independent businesses, and I almost would rather support third-party sellers because they're, they're selling through Amazon because they can't keep traffic to their website because Amazon kind of gobbles everything up. Like Lightwish is a seller that I personally purchase from, and they've also sent me things to review independently, 2 different like arms of that business, and I've had really good luck. Always with that company, and that's a third-party seller. Like Jerry's Artorama and Blick they sell on Amazon. Anytime I bought like artist grade paints on Amazon, I think I've bought them through SAA, which is a society for all artists out of the UK. I got my Rembrandts through them and my Winsor Newton watercolors through them, and they were perfect. The prices were great, and they were authentic products. So I think it just depends on the third-party seller. There's a lot of really good third-party sellers out there, but it was just really interesting, and I was just trying to think, like, if I've got anything counterfeit, I wouldn't have known what the thing was counterfeiting, because, yeah, I mean, because I usually, most, like, you know, name brand art supplies I get from Blick Art Materials or Jerry's Artorama, sometimes Cheap Joe's, sometimes Mary Artist, but because their prices are generally cheaper than Amazon. Unless you're buying like a set of something. The sets tend to be cheaper on Amazon sometimes, but not always, so that's why it pays to shop around. I just thought that was kind of interesting. Oh, I have a book recommendation. This was so good. One of my actually several of my viewers recommended this, but the first person to recommend it was a viewer named Gwen. Thank you, Gwen. The book is called The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, I believe. Should I write down? I don't want to give any spoilers. But it's just an amazing book. At first I started reading it and I was like, oh, I don't know, this sounds like it's going to be dark. I'm not in a place where I want to read something dark. And I put it down. I had actually borrowed it on my phone, but I'm like, oh, it's going to run out. And I was on a waiting list for so long to get this book, so I'm just going to plow through. And I loved it. It was actually really uplifting and inspiring, and just it'll make you look at things in your past you've regretted in a new way, and it will help you. It'll help you wash away those regrets. I guarantee it. It'll help you if you are somebody who ruminates out of like choices you made and worry, oh, maybe I should have done this or should I have done that. You know, if you blame yourself for things you've done that, like, you know, you just made the best choice you could at the time. This will really help. I think it's just an excellent book. I highly recommend it. I'm gonna see what else he's written and read other books by him, because it's just so good. So The Midnight Library, I will link to that down below in the video description as well. I borrowed mine through the download library. You'll probably have a waiting list if you're borrowing it from your, like, if you have a library app on your phone from your local library, but you might get the physical copy in the library, or if not, you can order it. It's not that expensive because I think it came out last year or the year before, so I think it was like, the hardcover I think was around $13 on Amazon, so not too expensive, and you can pass it along anyway when you're done if you want to, because that's one that I wouldn't mind owning. I could see myself reading that again because it was just so good. It was so good. So if you like to read, it's fiction, but if you like to read fiction, it's almost magical. If you like The Night Circus, you'll love it. I'm reading The Starless Sea right now. My sister gave me that book for my birthday last year, and I don't know why. I think it's like I pick it up and I start reading, I'm just like, I do not have the bandwidth. I'm not sure if I have the bandwidth for it right now, but I read, because I was having a really hard time focusing. I had my girls, took my girls to the dentist for their cleanings, and I was trying to read it, but I'm always just like, I don't know, I'm always nerved up whenever I'm in a doctor's office or a dentist's office, even if it's not for me. I'm more nerved up when I'm taking my kids to the doctors or dentist, but I couldn't focus, so I started to listen to an audiobook version of it. It wasn't the audiobook, it was somebody reading on YouTube that was just like a fan, I guess, and it was a little easier. So I think that might be one of those ones I'll have to read, then listen for at least the first couple of chapters before I get kind of into the groove of that one, because it's I think it's going to take a little more concentration. That's the thing about The Midnight Library. I didn't feel like I had to have, it did captivate me, but I didn't feel like I had to have like immense powers of concentration, because I don't have immense powers of concentration right now. But anyway, it's a wonderful book. I highly recommend it. It's like the second I finished it, I had to message Gwen and say, oh my word, this book is so good. Thank you so much for recommending it. Okay, so I want to discuss the comments that were on the video I posted this week about you know, do you like your hobby anymore? That resonated with so many of you, and the comments that you guys left were so thought-provoking and so gentle and so comforting, and I was seeing so many people responding to each other's comments, feeling comforted by them. And if you haven't watched that video, I posted it Tuesday actually, but the title of it is do you even like your hobby anymore? Because sometimes we just stop liking our hobby, and it's funny because, and the hobby I was specifically I talked about several hobbies. There's been many hobbies that I was all crazy about, and then I just kind of, you know, was over, like jewelry making and knitting and like recently card making. It's been very difficult for me to get really excited about card making, although sometimes I do. I wouldn't call that one as dead as knitting or jewelry making to me, and not that I won't necessarily go back to those things. I mean, I'm definitely not never say never, as they say, but it was just really interesting. And actually, for Frugal Friday yesterday, I did a video on because I didn't have it. Well, people sometimes send me ideas. They'll be like, oh, I saw this tip, I thought you might want to share it. I don't want to share other people's ideas. If somebody else has recently posted something online, it's like, I feel gross about sharing somebody else's idea. But then I was standing in the room of hoard over there, and I was just kind of looking at my stuff, and sometimes I do that, just kind of go in there and look at stuff and just pull stuff out and see what I have and see if anything sparks like inspiration. And I was looking around and I saw my template binder, and so I'm like, that would be a good Frugal Friday thing, and I didn't have anything, and it was Thursday, so it was perfect. So anyway, when I was going through that template binder, I started to see things I used to use, like when I was really excited about card making and scrapbooking and stuff, and it was definitely sparking some inspiration. So it all comes full circle, friends. It really does. But a viewer, Michelle, mentioned, she had a great comment under that video, and I wanted to bring it up because a lot of people were saying they were keeping their supplies and they just feel so much shame about having them because they bought too much and now they don't use it, but they don't feel like they can get rid of it because of how much they spent, or they feel like they need to sell it to recoup some of that cost, or they're worried that they might want to get back to it later, but right now they just don't even want to look at this stuff. This viewer said, you would never dream, and I'm paraphrasing, you'd never dream of keeping every article of clothing you've ever bought. Why do you feel the guilt or the need to keep every craft supply you've ever bought? So I thought that was really good, a really good analogy. If you think of like your closet, what if you had every piece of clothing in your closet that you've had since you were 16 or whatever, since you became like, you know, adult sized? I mean, can you imagine how overwhelming that would be? And of course, stuff would be worn out and stuff would be like holy. And like, I was looking at my t-shirts I sleep in, because I love to wear cotton, and I have this like a t-shirt my son got me at like Cub Scout camp, and it was like this tie-dyed t-shirt, and I'm not like tie-dye is not a flattering pattern or color scheme on me, but it was just, it's happy and cheerful, and I like to look at tie-dye, and it was a nice thick t-shirt and whatnot. So, and it was probably like $40 because it was from like Boy Scout camp, so you know it was probably crazy expensive, and so I like sleep in that. And I was just noticing there's all these little tiny holes, and it's just like getting threadbare. And yeah, I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely true. If you thought of like keeping every single piece of clothing you ever bought, can you imagine? We don't think of that, you know. It's not shameful to go through your closet once a year and get rid of the things you've worn out or outgrown or have, you know, need to be mended, or you just know you're never going to mend, or stuff that just doesn't suit you. You know, if you bought an outfit and you thought you would wear it, but you realized it wasn't really comfortable, you didn't like the way you felt when you had it on, but you couldn't return it, or maybe it was too long to return it, you know, you'd get rid of that and you wouldn't feel bad about it, you know. But we feel, for whatever, some guilt that we need to keep our craft supplies, and I think part of it is that, well, I think generally, well, I know that 85% of my audience is women, adult women, and I think a lot of times we feel like we need to justify the things that we buy. We need to justify it. That's why we feel like we need to earn money from our hobbies sometimes, you know. When people say, and I think it's because people will look at something innocently and say, oh, that necklace is so pretty, you should sell it. I've done that. Like this shawl, my friend Rosie made me this. When she made me a sketchbook, and I'm like, oh my word, these are gorgeous. And I out of my mouth came, you could sell these. Which, yes, she could, and people were asking for them. They were, every time I'd use them in a video, people were like, where can I get one? and she had no interest in selling, and I felt, and then I felt, oh my gosh, maybe I pressured her into this because she is an Etsy shop and she's selling them, but she told me not to feel guilty. But anyways, you know, we don't mean anything by it. We don't mean anything negative by it. We mean, wow, this is beautiful. We love this thing. We want to see our friends succeed. But I think that can be taken internally. It can be taken internally almost as a guilt, like, oh, I should be doing this. I think a lot of times, and I think this is probably for men too, we see all these things that we should be doing. And then we, you know, can't do something just for fun anymore. We have to, oh yeah, somebody else said it seems like a shame to have all this stuff just for fun. And it's like, or to keep this around just for fun. And I'm like, I think fun is a fantastic reason to do anything. If you show me something fun to do, I will gladly do it. Because what's a better reason than fun, you know? I mean, it's obviously we can't live our life just as like, you know, pleasure-seeking jerks or anything, but, you know, I think we all could do for a dose more of fun in our life, don't you think? What are we at for time? Oh my gosh. I just made an eye appointment. Oh, and this kind of irks me. I made an eye appointment, right? I hate making doctor's appointments and dentist appointments, and I feel like I've made so many phone calls and so many appointments this week, just getting things all lined up for everyone. And so I went to make an eye appointment for myself and my husband, and then my daughter's, and to order some more contacts for my daughter, but she's going to be due for an eye appointment, and wanted to get her in before she goes to college, because I think prescription's only good for a year. Eye contacts are only good for a year. I don't know. But I haven't been to the eye doctor for a checkup in like over 3 years, because they had to call me a new patient because I hadn't been there for like 3 years. But anyway, so she's like, well, let's get your appointment first, because we got you on the phone and I got your account pulled up. And so give me an appointment in May, which I figured it would be a couple months anyways, because, you know, most doctor's offices and stuff like that seem to be booked out pretty far in advance. And so, okay, now we're going to do, and I think I even asked, is that the earliest one you have? Yep. Okay. And then she goes to book my husband's, okay, so we've got April. I'm like, what? You just said that was early. And then like Maisie's was even earlier. It's like, how do I rate? I'm making the call. And I've got the latest, but you know, of course I didn't say, Jason's like, why didn't you say something and ask for the earlier appointment? And it's like, I have such an inferiority complex when it comes to like highly educated professionals like doctors and dentists and stuff like that it's like, I don't want to make trouble and like, and like jinx myself or have them be like, not do a good job, like examining my eyes or something. Oh, she's a problem. She wanted to have an earlier appointment. Well, I'm not going to give her good health care. I don't know. I have like an inferiority complex. I don't know. I guess it bothers me that there's like this knowledge that I can't access without going through these people. It's like, I want to be able to access the knowledge without going through those people. You know, I'll be happy when there's an app for an eye exam and I can just hold the app in front of my eyeballs and I can be like, yep, here's your prescription, or you need reading glasses, or it's time for, hopefully it's not time for bifocals. Oh my word. When do they start doing the bifocals? I hope I will be, I'm not emotionally ready for bifocals. I don't think I would need them. I'm not wearing glasses now. And actually, I probably could do those eye strains. And that's another thing. I saw an article on Facebook, so it's totally top-notch medical advice, I'm sure. But the guy did eye exercises, so we didn't have to wear glasses. And I am terrible about not like looking 20 feet away. For one thing, I'm in my studio, and this studio was not 20 feet long. I can't even look 20 feet away if I wanted to. There's no windows. There's walls, so, which are great because they keep the heat in, because I didn't have heat in my old room of Horde. But I can't look 20 feet away. I can't take the 20-20-20 break. It's like, look, every 20 minutes take 20 seconds and look 20 feet away, and to reduce eye strain. And I should do that, but I don't have 20 feet away that I can look. What am I going to do? Get up every 20 minutes and go outside and look at something far away? Yeah, that's not going to happen. I set a little alarm on my on my phone. Oh, it's 20 minutes. It's my alarm to remind me to look at something else. That's ridiculous. Oh, modern life. It's something, isn't it? So what else? So next week well, you know, I was going to say I'm not going to have a Sat Chat next week because I'm not going to be here to film it, but I think I'm going to film an extra video, a Sat Chat-ish video, and I will post that next week. So we'll have that. I even have because I had a topic that I wanted to do a video on, and I'm like, ooh, I can do that for Sat Chat next week. So there's something to look forward to. I'm not exactly sure what I have coming up for videos. I'm not exactly sure what I posted this week for videos. It's been such a blur, guys. But you know what? I'm actually really glad because I think I've mentioned this before. I am a very nervous traveler. And oh my gosh, the people at Derwent are so amazing. Yeah, they are like, and I'm feeling like, I don't know. They send you like, they booked all the travel. Somebody's gonna collect me at the airport and give me where I need to go. I'm not gonna, because I'm just like, I'm gonna get lost. I'm gonna get to New York City and I'm gonna be lost. And I'm gonna get mugged because, you know, I'm gonna look like the tourist from Maine here. But oh, they're so good. But I think if I wasn't so busy, I would be extremely nervous knowing that I was going to be flying and, you know, like getting my affairs in order in case the plane crashes nervous type, you know, type stuff. That's what goes on. That's what goes on. So I'm glad that I've been very busy because it's definitely, it's made the winter go faster and it's made me not freak out this week. Oh my word, I cannot see the time on my camera. I think it's partially because behind where the little clock is, and when I'm looking over the side, I'm looking at the screen, where the little clock is, it's something white behind it. The frame of that picture is behind it, so I can't really see what time it is. Do I have anything? I think I've talked about all of the topics that that I want to talk about. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope it's warming up if you're in a cold climate, and if you're somewhere where it's hot, I hope it's comfortable and you can enjoy it. Because I can't imagine living someplace that's too hot. Living someplace where it's so hot you can't leave your house. That would be awful. So Maine has its up points. I think that's one of the reasons I'm not too keen on traveling too much. It's like all I gotta do is wait 6 months and it'll be summer again. You know what I mean? It's like you get, because it's seasonal. But I really need to get over it. I need to see more of the world, I think. But anyway, that's all for this week. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up before you go, and we'll talk to you in the comments. Happy crafting!